All right, let's talk about a feeling I'm pretty sure you know. It's that digital hangover, that mental fog you get after being online too long. Well, it actually has a name: brain rot.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You've been scrolling, just lost in this endless river of short videos. You look up, and suddenly 2 hours have vanished. And your brain, it just feels like mush. Trying to focus on anything in the real world feels impossible.
Well, guess what? That feeling is now officially recognized. Oxford University Press just named brain rot its 2024 word of the year. That's a huge sign that this isn't just you, it's something people are feeling all over the world.
And get this, it's not just a term for us extremely online folks, it's going all the way to the top. In 2025, Pope Francis himself warned that depending too much on social media can cause, in Italian, putrefazione cerebrale, which, yep, you guessed it, translates directly to brain rot.
So, what are we really talking about? Well, here's the official definition from Oxford. It's the supposed deterioration of our mental state because we're consuming tons of trivial, low effort online stuff. It's basically that mental burnout from information overload. But here's where it gets really interesting. While the term feels super new, the anxiety behind it, it's not new at all. Turns out people have been worrying about new forms of media rotting our brains for centuries.
Just look at this timeline. Way back in 1854, Henry David Thoreau was already talking about a mental potato rot. In the 1800s, the poet William Wordsworth was complaining about frantic novels. Fast forward to 2007, and you have early Twitter users using brain rot for video games. And now, in just the last year, its usage has exploded by 230%. Wild, right? It seems like every generation has its own version of brain rot.
Okay, so if this fear has been around forever, what is actually happening in our brains when we get stuck in that scroll hole? Let's dig into the science a bit. A lot of it comes down to something called cognitive load theory. Here's a simple way to think about it. Your brain's working memory is like the RAM on your computer. It can only handle so much at once. When you're scrolling, you're flooding it with this rapid-fire, context-switching content. These apps are literally designed to hijack our brain's reward systems, keeping us hooked. But all that jumping around just completely overwhelms our capacity, and that's what leaves you feeling so drained.
And the effects? They're very real. This isn't just a feeling. Studies have linked this kind of overconsumption to some pretty serious stuff. Trouble with memory, a much shorter attention span, a harder time solving problems, and yeah, weaker critical thinking skills. It can even make us pull away from our friends and family.
And we're not talking about a small number of people here. A 2019 study estimated that a whopping 9.4% of young people in the US deal with what scientists call problematic interactive media use, which is really just the clinical term for what we're calling brain rot. Okay, I know hearing all this stuff about cognitive decline can sound, well, a little scary. So let's pause and make a very, very important distinction here. Brain rot is a slang term. It is not a medical diagnosis. Let's just look at this side by side. Brain rot is caused by your behavior and lifestyle. The key word here is reversible. A real medical condition like frontotemporal dementia is a neurological disease that is progressive and sadly not reversible. One is a feeling of fogginess. The other involves actual neuron loss in the brain. They are in completely different leagues. So, if you take one thing away, let it be this. Brain rot is not something a doctor is going to diagnose you with. It's a cultural term we use to describe being mentally exhausted. And that means, and this is the best part, it's a state you can absolutely 100% come back from. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question. How? How do we actually fight back against this feeling and get our focus back? Let's get into the toolkit. It's really a simple 3-step plan. Step 1, you increase friction. Just make those apps a little harder to open. Tuck them away in a folder instead of having them on your home screen. Step 2, and this is the big one, you have to replace the habit. You can't just have an empty space where scrolling used to be. You gotta fill it with something better. And step 3, practice mindfulness. Just consciously be present in the world around you. So let's zoom in on that second step, because it's the fun one, finding hobbies. The options are endless. You could do something intellectually stimulating, like reading a book or learning a language. Or you could get creative with painting or gardening, get physical with running or a team sport.
Even for just relaxing, something like a strategy game like Minecraft actively uses your brain in a way that just mindlessly scrolling never will. At the end of the day, the goal is simple. It's about flipping a switch. You want to go from being a passive consumer of content to being an active participant in your own life. So, I'll just leave you with this thought. We're constantly being told that our brains are rotting from all the stuff we consume. But what if the real answer isn't about consuming less, but about creating more? What will you choose to create?